Doing okay? Okay. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to this session. This is one of the series of education technology postgraduate boot camp organized by Creative Multimedia Panel, site research group. And in this session, we are going to talk about how to survive your PhD or master by research journey. And what we actually want you to do is not to struggle during this journey. And we are going to talk about that in this session. First of all, my name is Hassan Mahmoud Abuhassna. I am a senior lecturer in educational technology, School of Education, Faculty of Social Science and Humanities, UTM. In this session, we are going to highlight four main parts. We're going to go through four main parts or outlines. Okay. The first outline is I'm going to share with you um, very important tips to survive your journey. Five important tips to survive your journey and graduate on time. In the second part of this session, I'm going to share with you what to do, what not to do in your first year, second year, and then third year. Okay. So, first of all, let's talk about these five essential tips, which is how to survive your journey. Me personally, I have completed my PhD in 2 years and 10 months, so less than 3 years, which was relatively fast. And the reason that I had so much focus and attention that I was actually able to do it because I was under a scholarship. So it means if I did not graduate on time, I am on my own. And this was a big motivation for me to graduate on time. Right? So what you need to do is you need to look into your own life, okay, and look for something to motivate you. And always remember that master by research or PhD, it is not something compulsory. It's unlike bachelor. Bachelor, it's something compulsory for all of us. But when it comes to masters and PhD, it is something that you are desired to do it. It's your own choice to do it. Okay. So once you have made this decision, you are responsible to be committed. Okay. You are responsible to motivate yourself. Okay. So what you need to do is look for something to motivate you along the way. Now, the very first tip that I would personally, from my experience, share with you is change your routine. What I mean by change your routine is as soon as you signed up for your PhD program, always remember your life before PhD must be changed. One more time, this is not bachelor degree, okay? It's not all courses, structured courses when you go through the course and then you set for the exam. It's not the time to relax when you do your PhD. It's not the time to relax. Okay, so to actually be able to be away from all the pressures when you sign up for PhD, you need to start from day one. You need to start from day one and build new habits. Okay. For example, for me, when I was doing my PhD, I would go to the library every day. I used to study at the library when I would start my day every morning and lunch on Facebook, read emails, read news, and that would be the very first thing that I do every day, which is something bad to start your day with. So the first thing is when you build a new habit, you need to avoid anything that will distract you from your goal or your objective. Okay, so what you really need to do is you need to give yourself some quality time. What I mean by quality time, you need to isolate yourself from the environment. When it's time to work, it's time to work. Do not let anything outside of the PhD environment distract you. Okay. So once you are on your laptop and you started working on your thesis, writing, reading, whatever, do not let anything distract you. Switch off your phone. Do not go through Facebook, any social media, YouTube. Switch all the news. Do not replay any emails. Just start working on your thesis. Okay. So do not socialize for at least 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at the afternoon. So if you don't do that and you start socializing, Facebook, YouTube, reading news, replaying email, 2 or 3 hours will pass and you will not even realize it. Okay. So the first tip that I would really recommend you to do is build a habit that is the first thing you do to start working. You need to plan your day out. Okay. For example, today I'm going to read some articles, or I'm going to explore, some related theories to my work, and I'm going to, figure some, or illustrate some figures into my work, explain about these figures, and so on. All right. This is about building new habit. Always remember to isolate yourself from the environment. Only focus on your work. Now, the second tip is writing. When I talk about writing, guys, it's not something that is only for masters and PhD. Once you have chosen, the academia career or academia path, writing is an essential skill to have. It's very, very important. If you do not know how to write academic writing, you need to work on your skills. This is very, very important. All right. In a PhD, when you need to start, writing earlier than you think. Some students think that writing is the last step that I'm going to do as a PhD student. This is wrong. This is very, very wrong. You need to start writing from day one. Always remember, when you plan your day, always remember to give maybe 1 or 2 hours only for writing. Okay. So you need to read and write, because writing is going to shape your skills. Without writing, you are not going to be successful in academia world, right? Writing is everything. Okay. So I'm not saying academic writing is an easy thing to do. It is actually needs some certain skills, needs some, certain experience. And this is what I mean here. You need to get yourself familiar with writing. Okay. Writing is very important. And it's not, related to how you are skillful in English language and so on. Some people are very good in conversation, for example, but when it comes to writing, they don't have the skills required to actually write in academia, articles, research papers, and so on. The key to be able to write in academia is to read. When you read articles, so many articles in your field, most cited articles in your field, this will get you familiar with the keywords, the expression that is actually used among researchers and authors and so on. So do writing every day, guys. Writing, it is very essential to do. So as I mentioned earlier, give yourself 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes to write every day. If you do this, you are going to shape your skills. Let's say I want to, give myself a task today, and I will write 1 page only. Okay. Whether in the introduction or the theoretical framework, the problem statement. what I would really do is I would go through previous research, previous thesis, previous article, published article already. I will read the statement of the problem over five or 10 of these articles. And then when I get familiar with the style of writing, I will try to write my own. Okay. So writing is a very important step. Okay. So that's number two. Number one is uh, the first tip that we have shared is to change your routine, isolate yourself, do not socialize, only focus on your thesis. Number one. Two, writing. Get yourself familiar with writing. Okay, it's very important. And then number three, which is do not forget to relax a little bit. Now, when you do your PhD, this is going to last for at least 3 years, right? So when you get yourself involved in your PhD, more than you're supposed to, you will get bored. So this is why you need to get a day off. Get 1 day off or 2 days off. If you work 5 days a week, okay, each of these 5 days, 5 to 6 hours quality time, this is going to be more than enough. More than enough. So when I was doing actually my PhD, it was very challenging because it's something new. So I would take some time to just relax, chill out, and do nothing. Do not talk about my PhD at all. All right. So you are doing the PhD for at least 3, maybe 4 years. So always remember to take 1 day off, but do not over the relax period, because I know personally some students have been doing PhD for very, very long, more than 6 or 8 years. If you go that far, your PhD is not going to be fun. It's going to be far more exhausted for you. It's going to be a pressure, because when you go for long, the more time it takes, the more pressure is going to put upon your shoulders. Okay. So you have to make your journey sustainable. What that looks like is actually taking time off for a full day, maybe at least once a week, where you can say that I'm not going to do anything that is related to my PhD. Today, I'm going to take the day off, get out with my family and so on. Okay. This is the third step. Number one, build a new habit. Do not socialize. Focus on your work. Start with your work immediately once you open your laptop. Okay. Number two, writing. Writing is very important. And then number three, which is very, very important, guys, especially if you are a foreigner. This tip is very important for you uh, to be aware of, which is your relationship with your supervisor. When I'm talking about your relationship with your supervisor, it is something that more important than all the skills that we have actually talked about. Uh, for a new student supervisor relationship, can you please mute? Okay, the relationship with your supervisor, as I mentioned, is very, very important. Maybe it's the number one important factor of all. The way you finish your PhD faster is by getting your supervisor on board. This is where you, check with your supervisor, always text your supervisor, always update them. Where are you at this moment? You done with your chapter one? You are done with chapter two, chapter three? Okay, if you actually need inquiries, you need some guidance, you need to ask them continuously. Okay, what you need to do is you need to tell your supervisor about your goals for the first impression. The first impression is very, very important. If you are a new student, this is your first semester, try to meet your student as soon as your supervisor as soon as possible. So if this is your new semester and you are a new student, do not do not waste do not waste your time. Try to meet your supervisor as soon as possible, and for the first meeting, give them the the impression that you actually care. You want to finish your PhD on time, and you are not going to be late. You are obvious about what are you going to do. You do have the title. Maybe you have the idea that you want to share with your supervisor, and so on. Okay, guys. Some of the students, when I'm talking about the relationship between the student and the supervisor, they actually expect that the supervisor will do the work on their behalf. This is very wrong. Your supervisor is supposed to actually guide you. They are not supposed to do the work on your behalf. Okay. But one more time, your relationship with your supervisor is very, very important when it comes to doing PhD or master. Okay, so let them guide you, let them share some important experience with you as a new student by getting them on board, which is very important because believe me, I have seen some students that deal with PhD as they don't care. Okay, they spend 8 to 10 years doing the PhD. It was going to be um, bad. Okay, and that is the end of the day. They actually they blame their supervisors, while on the other hand they are the one to blame, because if you want to finish your PhD, you are the responsible to do it, not your supervisor. I have managed to finish mine in less than 3 years because I really had something to motivate me. Okay, which is I was under a scholarship, and if I go, up to 6 semesters, I am on my own. I didn't want this to happen, so I managed to finish within 6 semesters. I have made my proposal defense in my first semester, at the end of the first semester. So do not waste your time waiting for 2 to 3 semesters to do your proposal defense. Do your proposal defense as soon as possible. Once you do it, you are free to collect the data and start writing and do all the work. All right, guys? So this is very, very important, the relationship with your supervisor. So we have talked about 4 tips by far. Number 1 is building a new habit. Number 2 is writing. Writing is very important. 15 minutes a day. Number 3 is the relationship with your supervisor. It's very important to get your supervisor on board when you are going with PhD. Now, number 5, you need to socialize with your faculty members, your colleagues, your friends that are doing with a master or PhD, same as you. Okay. What I mean here is that you need to get familiar with them. Do not be shy. Do not be afraid. Always share your opinions. What do you think? Let's meet at the library, and then we can actually share ideas and so on. Whenever you hear about some workshops, colloquium, activities, that your faculty run, take a part of it, and always take your hand up. Ask questions for your colleagues. Ask questions for your supervisor. If need someone to present, go ahead and take a chance to present your work, and then you will get feedback from your audience. Okay, because during the viva and during the proposal defense, you will get so much pressure. Okay, during the presentation, if this is your first time to present, it's going to be a problem. So you need to present before that. You need to make a MOOC presentation. Just call your friends, present to them, share your opinion with them, and let's hear back from them, get some feedback, and ask them what is my weakness, what do you like about my presentation, what do I need to work on, in my presentation, and so on. And always remember, guys, always remember is that you need to work on yourself. PhD, it is something by your choice. You have decided to go for your PhD or your master. Nobody forced you. Okay. It's not, as I mentioned, it's not like a bachelor degree. It is something that you choose to do. So you are responsible for the completion of your PhD. And what I mean by completion is anything comes inside, like workshop, software, writing skills, reading, it is your responsibility. Okay. So these are the 5 important tips that is actually a must to have for your PhD and to graduate in time. Always remember, graduation in time as important as the registration day. When you have made the decision to register for a PhD, it is a very important day of your life. And the completion of your PhD, actually, it is very important as well. Do not make it so long. Do not make your PhD take so long. Okay? Any question, guys? Any question? Okay, now let's talk about the second part of this presentation. After talking about the tips, we are talking about what to do and what not to do in each year of your PhD. Okay. Now, for the first year of your PhD, it's going to be very, very important. Uh, the day that you have registered for PhD, okay, remember that PhD is not the time to relax. So you need to be serious from day one. Okay, it is not like bachelor. It's not like anything else. You need to fail often so that you would actually achieve something in your life. What I would share in your first year is you need to read a lot. You need to read a lot. Okay, reading, for example, whole thesis, literature, published articles. You need to read a lot so that you gain the writing skills, all the experience, what is up to date in your field of study. Read everything that you can that is actually related to your study, and you can go through published article, thesis, and so on. Now, this one thing that I do not uh, till today at the beginning of the research. When I get an idea about a paper or a research, what I do is I read something familiar with it. So if you have an idea, if you have a title, go for Google, go for any library, Scopus, whatever. Search for articles that is familiar or similar to your research. Okay. By reading all this information, you will get to know how to write. You will get to know what is up to date in your field of study. Okay. So reading is very, very important. Now, what I used to do in my PhD, and this is actually helped me a lot during my PhD to finish on time, to graduate on time. I used to, uh, make a folder in my computer, make a folder. It's called thesis. Inside this folder, I would actually create a new folder, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. In each folder, for example, chapter 1, I would create a new folder. It's called introduction. Okay. Problem statement, background of the problem. Now, other than that, I would create another folder that has all the variables that I have in my study. Okay. Let's say, for example, I study about online learning platforms. All right. And I do have some variables that I want to measure in my study. For example, student achievement, okay, students' autonomy, students' academic achievement, satisfaction. Okay, so these are the three variables, and the online learning platforms. So I would create a folder for online learning platforms in general and bring all the articles that has relationship with online platforms. I would do put them all the articles in this folder, and then I would read these articles. For example, this article is about online learning platforms and student satisfaction. I would create a PowerPoint file and summarize this article. And then after I summarize it, I would put the reference for each article. Let's say I have 10 articles. I summarize all of them and I put the reference for these articles. Now, this is very, very helpful for you when you start to write your chapter 2 literature review, because you do have all the literature now. When you do have all the literature, the references, everything is ready. Now you just need to collect the information. Okay. Now let's take an example from you guys. Can anyone share your title with me? Can anyone share your title, your PhD or master title? Anyone? Chinese calling English. Okay, wait. Chat. Dai Lian, thank you. Chinese calling English teachers, teaching competence for deep learning. This is very good. Now, what is the best way to actually follow this article is when you create the folder, create subfolders. Now, first one is Chinese college English teachers teaching English as a foreign language, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because Chinese is the second language, the English is a second language. So, this is the first folder. Second folder is deep learning. I'm going to collect all the articles that is related to deep learning. Okay. And then let's say I collected 10 articles. And then it's time to read now. I will open the article, read it, read the abstract, and read the conclusion. When I am finished with that, I would summarize it in a PowerPoint slide, the summary, and then down, I will put the reference. I'll go for article 2, no slide. Second slide, article 2, the reference. Third slide, article 3, reference. If you do this way, it's going to be very easy for you. Everything is organized. Because when you want to write your chapter 2, the literature, chapter literature review is, it's all about other people work. Okay, chapter 2, guys, you need to refer other people work, chapter 2. How to organize your chapter 2? You need to cover all variables in your research. For example, in Mr. Bahir title, the impact of e-learning on faculty teaching members' ability to use educational platforms in Iraqi university based on TPAC framework. What Mr. Bahir needs to cover in chapter 2 is first, impact of e-learning. Impact of e-learning. This is the headline. And under the headline is going to be subhead as well. Faculty teaching members' ability to use educational platforms. He is going to talk about educational platforms, online platforms, face-to-face, blended learning, all platforms, okay? And he need to mention what platform that he actually mentioned in his study, the one that he is going to use. And then finally, he is going to talk about the framework, the TPAC framework, why it's suitable for his study, why he did choose this framework, not other frameworks. Okay. And if there is, a close framework to this one, he need to justify why this is the perfect framework for my study. Okay, so and to be able to do that, you need to collect previous articles, thesis, published article that has relation to do with my topic, and then summarize it. If I do that, my work will be very organized. Okay, guys, I hope it's clear for now. So number one, first year of your PhD, read a lot, read and read and read. Number two is fail and learn. We are here in life to fail, guys. Failure means that we are on the correct path, because failure is going to fix something among us. When we fail, we learn. When we do not fail, nothing going to change really. So you need to fail often, and you will learn a lot. So uh, make sure that if you are not failing once a week, there's something wrong. So failure, asking so many questions is very normal to do when you do your PhD. When your supervisor give you many comments, this is very normal. You must be happy with it, okay? Because you are actually on the progress. You are shaping your skills. So failure is a must. Failure means that we are on the right track. Number three is learn the techniques and analysis in depth. Now, some of the students, which is very normal, relate to somebody to do their analysis, the data analysis for them on their behalf. This is normal. You are actually not required to do your analysis by your own, but it's better if you can get familiar with these kind of data analysis skills. So what I would really advise you to do is get familiar with the most relevant software. Now everybody is using Smart PLS software. Smart PLS is a very good and very relevant software that everybody is now doing, especially if you are planning to publish your work, because you are actually required to publish when Zong, can you please mute? Okay, when you do your PhD, you are required to publish in Zong. Can you please mute your mic? All right. When you are doing your master by research or PhD, you are required to actually publish your work. This is one of the requirements for you to graduate. To be able to publish, you need to write your own article. Some articles might include, data and data analysis and stuff like that. So you need to get familiar with the most relevant softwares in the area, which is Smart PLS. Whenever you hear there is a workshop or anything that is related to Smart PS, please attend. It's very important. Please attend your any workshop or training session about Smart PLS. Okay. Now this is the first year of your study. Let's move on about the second year of study. Now, the second year of your master or PhD is going to be very boring. Why? Because there's no productivity. It is actually something like a duplicate for the first year. First year was fun. It was new. You had actually attended the courses. You get some work done. But the second year is very boring because it has the same thing as the first year. You will feel like you are wasting your time, but you are not. Believe me, you are not wasting your time. You are actually um, you need to be patient. You need to be committed. As I mentioned, once you actually have made the decision for your PhD, the key for success is to be patient. Okay. So in the second year, there's no much progress. There's no, clear outlines where to go, what to do. Okay. So these are the three tips for the second year for you to remember. Always remember that it's not going to last forever. Second year, I know it's hard. I've been there. My second year of study, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. But with being patient, being committed, repeating what I do every day, spending 3 to 4 hours a day, quality time to my work, helped me a lot to actually shape my experience. And number two is always remember to plan for the next few weeks. Always remember this is not the time to actually waste. I saw some student, they will actually have a gap between year one and year two. In year one, they will do a lot of work. When it comes to year two, they will forget about their PhD for 1 or 2 months. This is very wrong because you will forget what did you do in your first year. So do not waste the time. Always remember, and if you do feel exhausted sometimes and you are not up to work for 3 to 4 hours, maybe you can work for 1 or 2 hours only, but do not let one day pass without updating every day. This will keep your mind connected to your work. You will not forget about your work. Okay. Number three is communicate with your supervisors. Always remember that your supervisor is more important than your thesis. Believe me, the relationship between you and your supervisor is more important than your thesis. Okay, so do not let 3 to 4 months pass without communicating with your supervisor, because your supervisor will forget about you and they will forget about your work. You do not want that to happen. If they forget about you and your work, they will feel like you do not care. You don't want to graduate. Okay, but we do not want our supervisor to feel that way. Always remember that your relationship with your supervisor, it is an essential thing in doing a PhD or a master by research. Okay. Now the third year. During the third year, guys, we have already written everything from chapter 1 to 3. Okay, is completed, and we have collected our data. We have made the data analysis, all the figures, everything is clear. Now you need to write up. What I mean by write up is you need to get the thesis structured, all the chapters structured, including chapter 1, 2, 3 until chapter 6. Now, after the proposal defense, you will leave chapter 1, 2, 3 and you will go for data collection. When you get the data back and you will start to analyze the data, now it's time to update chapter 1 to 3. What I mean by update here is that go to chapter 1. Anything changed for the objective? No. Anything changed in the problem statement? If yes, you need to update. Okay. Especially if you are doing a preliminary study and you get the results already, you need to mention that in the problem statement. You need to highlight the results, and you need to highlight some updates in the chapter 1. Now all the updates are going to be in chapter 2, because when I write my chapter 2 back then, when I defended my proposal, it was not enough. I need to update, add more, cover all the variables of the research. Always remember that. We have another title here, the development of critical thinking. Okay, this is variable number one, critical thinking. I want to make a new folder called critical thinking. Inside critical thinking, I would collect all the articles that has a relationship with critical thinking and then summarize each one of them. Of EFL learners, English teaching, I think teaching English as a foreigner as well. So I would, this is the second variable. A case study of Chinese learning community. Chinese learning community is another topic to actually talk about, write about when we structure the chapter one, the literature review. So once you update chapter two, guys, once you update chapter two, it's going to help you a lot when you write the discussion. I will discuss about that later on. We have another title, the social presence of online student in higher vocational education. Now the social SP, the social presence, is actually one element of a framework. Is this the final title for you? The social presence of online student. Yeah, it's not, because it is not complete actually. It's not complete. So you need to complete, you need to be more clear about the title. It's not I can tell that it doesn't, go up to a PhD level. Okay. So always remember the title of the research. The title of the research needs to be very clear. It needs to tell everything about your research, your thesis. When I read your article, the title, I understand what are you going to do exactly. Okay. Now, chapter two. Chapter three, guys, it's about the methodology. The methodology, you are going to clear it up. And then it's time to create chapter four and five in year three. Four and five is all about the data. You need to illustrate all the data, and then finally the discussion. When you write the discussion, it's all about the data, the results that you get, and then you need to compare these results with other people work. Where to get this information from chapter 2, literature review. So the discussion chapter 6, is all about a comparison between your work and other people work. Where did I get other people work? Is chapter 2, the literature review. So you need to mention each figure, each table, the results, highlight the results of your work, and then compare these with other people work, the literature review. If you do this, PhD is going to be very easy and you are going to graduate on time. All right, guys, I hope everything is clear so far. Do you have any questions? Any questions so far? Okay, that's good. Now, these are special tips for the third year. Third year is the completion year of your work. So you need to own your days. Every day counts. Do not waste your time in the third year of your PhD. Always look for previous thesis from your same supervisor. Ask them, do you have a thesis that I can follow? You can get the idea of the structure, the headlines, okay, where to put the figures, the framework, how to write the data analysis, okay. And then always keep the communication channel. This is the third time I mention about this because it's very important. Always communicate with your supervisor. Do not underestimate this. This is very important. The relationship between you and your supervisor, especially if you are a foreigner. You need to prove that you are here to complete your PhD and go back. You are not planning to stay forever. I know personally some students have wasted 10 years in PhD, 8 years, 6 years. You do not want to do that. You are planning to graduate on time, okay? And then finally, stay consistent. Always remember being patient and being consistent is the key for everything in life, not only PhD and master degree. Small steps, but continuous steps will last forever. So if you do take small steps every day, it is going to matter at the end of the journey. That's all for my session. I hope it was actually helpful for you. And I am open for questions. If you do have any question related to this session or your PhD in general, you can ask me, guys.
Hello, doctor.
Hi.
So just now you mentioned the slides. We're going to use the slides to gather the information we got from the literature. So, you know what? I'm wondering which is better, the slides or the matrix? Like, because we were told to make a matrix in our methodology class, and this is what I am using. But just now you mentioned the slides.
Okay, the slides is just a strategy for you to remember your work. You are not going to mention that in your chapter 3. This is this is a strategy for you to study. And it depends on you whether you would like to do this strategy or other strategies. It is totally up to you. What I share is, it's something for your information. If you feel that this strategy is easier because you are going to mention all articles instead of reading the article, you are going to refer to this article in particular, and then the reference is there already. When you finish, you can just copy the reference and put it in your thesis. So this is what I personally do, but it's up to you whether you like this way or any other way.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Yes, most welcome. Thank you for the question. Any other questions? You can ask whatever you would like to.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Walaikum salam.
Sorry, I just want to ask a question. Okay, if we are rest for a long time, so how can we update our motivations or momentum? Because for example, a woman who giving birth or pregnant, so maybe she can't go through the study, right? So after the giving birth, she want to open the thesis again. So how can she start? What the best way for her to keep the momentum or motivation again? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I understand that some of the students are going to be part-time students, not full-time. When I talk about graduation on time, I'm talking about full-time PhD students. I understand that maybe some of you have some circumstances like Shahira right here. Now, when you have something up during the journey, you need to always remember why did you start in the first place. This is very important for you. We all go through some stuff in life, but always remember that when you finish your PhD, your baby is going to be proud of you. Okay, and you are going to be proud of yourself as well. But so that this is actually going to be a motivation for you. When I first started, uh, the motivation was first I was a foreigner and I was here alone, and I was under scholarship, the Malaysian International Scholarship (MIS), and they actually reduced some of the rules for the scholarship. They previously they actually are able to extend the scholarship, but when I was selected, they actually uh, they have mentioned that they are going not to extend the scholarship for us. So this was my motivation. So you need to look for your own motivation. Why have you started? Do you want to change your business work line of business? You want to actually work on the academia? Always motivate yourself, because if you do not motivate yourself, nobody else would do. This is very, very important, guys. So yeah, motivate yourself, start fresh, ask your supervisor for a thesis from a previous student, try to follow the structure. This is going to help you a lot. If you do have the structure in front of you, you're just gonna fill the headlines and follow the structure of the thesis. I hope this answered the question, Shahira.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best. Um, yes, of course, I'm going to share the recording when I am done. Uh, I think all the recordings are there in the website Dr. Zach shared with all of you. Okay, guys, any other questions? How to make a research calendar? Is it better to schedule as detailed as possible, like in every hour? No, 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 no. It is actually not recommended to do that, because it is up to your mood. Sometimes you will feel like, okay, today I'm going just to read articles. Some days I'm going to summarize. Some days I'm going to actually write. Okay. Some days you're going to create some figures and then explain about these figures. But always remember, keep your work together, because you don't want to get lost. That is why I follow this strategy where I create folder, chapter one folder, chapter two, inside chapter one, everything that is related to chapter one, problem statement, whatever, background, framework, whatever. And then when I'm done with all the elements, I would actually put them in one file, which is chapter one. I would go through all of it again and then try to make it connected, all the paragraphs together, all sections together. So yeah, it's not recommended that you schedule every time an hour. Just let it to your mode. But always remember that every day you must do something about your PhD, because time matters. Small steps at the end of the 3 years are going to matter, or 4 years. Welcome. Any other questions? Any question, guys? Attendance, let me see. How about the other attendance, the previous attendance? Just wait a second. I will ask Dr. Zach. Wait. Okay. Yeah, it's here. This is the attendance, guys. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Thank you very much for attending. I really appreciate your time. I wish that I have, you know, give you something useful today. I wish you all the best. If you do wish to contact me, I'm always available through my email, my WhatsApp. You are welcome to contact me anytime. With that being said, thank you very much and see you later. Bye bye.